There's no one but you. Here, hold my heart.
Well, good evening. Welcome back to another little 5-minute Friday. Back across the border, and I've brought myself down to a little cove called Malin Beg. Now, we are quite close to a couple of other pretty famous landmarks here, not the least Sleeve Cliffs. Hoping to maybe get over there tomorrow. We've just got the van parked up above, so perfect little place to come. Now, came along here earlier on today and some phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal beach patterns. The problem is we are going to be losing the light very soon. Let's take a wander along and seize what we can seize.
Strangest sound gets around us two. In between our sparks.
Now, a big issue that we're faced with is a very popular little cove, dog walkers and the like. So of course, and dogs love to run through the strand line, which is where some of the best beach patterns are. So, and also there's a lot of very similar beach patterns, so actually trying to pluck out just little sort of individual ones is going to be the challenge. And as I say, there's probably a little bit, now that I've moved along the cove a little bit, there's probably going to be maybe half an hour's worth of light, maybe, but we'll see what we can come up with. Also, I'm wearing stupid shoes. Don't know why I didn't put my walking boots on, so makes it fun as well.
You come and go like a monsoon rain. You had a show like a lightning bolt. You have it all.
Now, at the moment we still have plenty of light, so I'm actually shooting handheld, auto ISO. I'm mucking about a bit with the aperture, obviously, getting the fast enough shutter speed to handheld. I'm shooting with the X-T2 18-135, and what that's really allowing me to do is, I know I could do this with the tripod, but it's just allowing me to be a lot more fluid with my movements, especially getting right above the pattern and having a straight top-down view. Again, possible with the tripod and the ball head, but just much easier, and plenty of light. Don't mind about a slight increase in the ISO. Just playing about, lots of fun, just handheld, and it's a stunning little cove. Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to walk right to the very end of the beach here, because I spotted today as well there were some beautiful patterns and some marbleation. Is that even a word? Some lovely marbleation in the rocks. Come on, we'll wander along and see what we can see there.
I go red when you're sitting nearby. I'm like a young child. Oh, it's silly how time just flies when we playing you high.
I've actually been bimbling about on these rocks, which isn't very clever given my choice of footwear. It's like walking across there with a couple of tissues on my feet. I came across a lovely, now there's one thing, there's lovely strata, is that the word? I would love to find a couple of really lovely smooth round rocks, because I think they kind of flow together quite well. The problem being is that all the rocks are quite jagged, so it's just really a case of, rather than photographing the whole rock, maybe just looking for some patterns on that rock. And to that note, I've kind of found this little scene here, and I'm trying to get the tripod as much over the scene as possible, looking directly down. The problem being where the nicest sort of patterns are looking directly over. Because of the angle of the sun, I start to cast a bit of a shadow with the tripod leg. It almost looks a little bit like from an aerial view, maybe top down over some sand dunes. It might just be that I haven't had enough coffee or too much coffee as normal. The shadow on the beach is definitely starting to move along a little bit, so I'm not going to spend too much time here. I'm going to go back along in a moment and see whether we can pick up some more of those beach patterns. But there were a few people down here when I first came down. Now, apart from the sheep, just me.
You come and go like a monsoon rain. You had a show like a lightning bolt.
Now, one of the things I like to look for in the beach patterns is there an image within an image, or is that beach pattern sort of telling a story. Quite often you'll maybe see patterns of trees, or maybe patterns of, in fact, one of my sort of favourites is almost like a little alien. I'll throw that image up. But here, now when I first saw the scene, my mind kind of thought initially almost a father and son moment. There's a larger pattern on the left, smaller pattern on the right. But as I started to compose the image and really study through the viewfinder, I started to see almost a bit of a sort of a wizard, a sort of a monk or something, you know, an old kung fu master sort of doing the I'm out at about 60mm, so I've decided to go ahead and focus stack 3 images here, so got it back on the tripod again. Again, I'm not right above it because, as you can see, I'm kind of casting quite long shadows. F8, focus stacked, kung fu master. Right, so I reckon that is the light about to go. It literally is dipping down behind. We're down in a little kind of cove. Sunset is in about half an hour. But down in this cove we lose the light pretty much now. You can probably see behind me here, everything's starting to fall into shadow, and certainly everything really bright, but everything sort of, as I wander back to the steps up, is now completely in shadow. Now that's not to say it's not impossible to make an image, but of course you're going to lose a lot of those golden tones, and because we don't have any clouds above us, we're not going to get any sort of reflective light coming down, which is unfortunate, but some lovely clouds out here. But, well, that was rather enjoyable. Just a little bit of fun Malin Beg with some of the sand patterns. Hope you've enjoyed another little 5-minute Friday. As always, take care, and until next time, bye bye.
All around there's no one but you. Here, hold my heart. Strangest sound